In bustling Chicago tech CEO Lucas Quinn lives high above the city in lonely luxury. But when he spots a 6-year-old boy selling a puppy on the icy sidewalk sporting the same scar on his wrist, his world stops. The boy wears a charm bracelet from Lucas's past. Could this be his son? One memory, one scar, one moment could change everything. Subscribe for more heartfelt stories. A cold wind swept through downtown Chicago, rustling the steel-gray coat of Lucas Quinn as he stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of his penthouse. The skyline glittered below, but his mind wasn't on the view. A half-finished espresso sat untouched beside stacks of merger papers. His assistant's voice echoed faintly through the intercom. "Board call in 10, Mr. Quinn." He didn't respond. Lucas, 38, CEO of EtherSoft, an AI company worth billions, was a man known for logic, speed, and silence. His blue eyes, sharp as code lines, blinked slowly as he glanced at the scar on his wrist. A faint, slanted line. He got it when he was 9. Playing with a stray puppy his father never let him keep. His lips tightened. Down below, the city moved cars. Honked people rushed, but inside it was too quiet. He picked up the faded silver charm bracelet lying on the table. One tiny paw print dangled from it. It had belonged to Claire. College days. Warm laughter. A rainy weekend at the lake house, and then nothing. Just a voicemail from her dorm saying goodbye. He never returned the call. Lucas set the bracelet down and tapped the tablet screen. News of layoffs, restructuring, market shifts. His company was adapting fast, and it had cost jobs, a lot of them. He rubbed his eyes. "Focus," he muttered. He grabbed his coat and headed for the elevator. Down on LaSalle Street, crowds braved the wind. Lucas exited the building, phone in hand, eyes scanning news alerts. He nearly stepped over the boy without seeing him. A soft voice caught him. "Mr. Would you like a puppy?" Lucas stopped. The boy was no older than 6. White with a mop of blonde hair and solemn blue eyes that seemed older than they should have been. He sat cross-legged on a flattened cardboard box holding a tiny brown puppy with floppy ears. Beside him sat a tattered backpack and a handmade sign. "Please help. Mom says we can't afford him anymore." Lucas stared. "Where's your mom? She's at work. She said I should try here, said rich people come out of that building." Lucas blinked. The boy's voice had a calm, rehearsed steadiness, like he'd been told not to cry. "What's your name?" Lucas asked. "Tyler." The puppy nuzzled the boy's jacket. Lucas crouched down. "You selling the puppy?" The boy nodded. "He eats too much." Lucas didn't respond. Something about the boy's face, it tugged at a place deep inside him. But then he saw it. A small scar, same size and angle as his own, ran along the boy's wrist. Lucas froze. "You okay?" Mr. Tyler asked softly. Lucas cleared his throat. "Where'd you get that bracelet?" The boy looked down. Around his wrist was a small silver chain. The same bracelet, same paw print charm. Lucas stood up too fast. His voice cracked. "Who gave that to you, my mom? She said it was from someone she used to love." Lucas staggered back a step. "What's your mom's name?" "Claire." A gust of wind swept between them. Lucas took a shaky breath, his mind racing back to college dorms, long talks on rooftops, the last fight they'd argued about everything. She wanted to keep the baby. He said it wasn't the right time. She cried. He walked out. He thought she never had the child. He was wrong. Tyler tilted his head. "Do you know her?" Lucas knelt again. His hands trembled. I think I might," a voice called from across the sidewalk. "Tyler." A woman rushed toward them. Brown coat, tired eyes. She froze when she saw Lucas. Their eyes met. She dropped the grocery bag in her hand. Apples scattered across the pavement. Claire. Lucas whispered. Claire, is he? She grabbed Tyler, her eyes wide with something between fear and fury. Don't, she said sharply. Don't you dare. Lucas stood frozen, speechless. The silver bracelet glinted in the winter sun. The past, long buried, had just walked out of his lobby wearing his eyes his scar and his second chance. Claire's hand trembled as she pulled Tyler closer, eyes never leaving Lucas. For a full 5 seconds, no one moved. The puppy whimpered between them, its tiny tail flicking across the cardboard. Claire, Lucas said again, softer now. I didn't know. I swear I didn't. You fired me. Lucas, she snapped. Her voice cut through the cold like glass. Last month. Laid off with 30 others, no warning. His lips parted, stunned. Wait. What, I worked in your customer platform division. Under my middle name. You don't even know the people you hurt, do you? Tyler looked up, confused. Mom. She knelt beside him. It's okay, baby. Just grab your things. Lucas stepped forward. Claire, please. He's mine, isn't he? She stood slowly, her face guarded. What difference does it make now? He looked at Tyler. Everything. Claire's jaw tightened. We're not doing this here. Then let's go somewhere, Lucas said gently. Talk. Anywhere you want. She hesitated. Then after a long pause, nodded once. They sat at a nearby bench tucked behind a bus shelter. Claire wrapped Tyler in her coat, tucking the puppy into her lap as the wind picked up. Lucas sat across from them. Elbows on his knees, hands clenched. I never got another message from you, she said quietly. I sent one. After graduation. Told you I was pregnant. Never heard back. His stomach turned. I never got it. Her eyes narrowed. I swear, he added. I would have come. I would have. She looked away. Your uncle was handling your mail. He said it was to screen distractions before your funding pitch. Lucas stared at her. Uncle Grant. She gave a bitter laugh. He told me you'd moved on. That you didn't want the baby. That I was chasing money. Lucas pressed his fingers to his temple. Oh my God. I didn't want your money, she said, her voice sharp but trembling. I wanted you to know. Silence fell between them. Tyler held up the bracelet. Mommy says this was from someone who loved her once. Claire swallowed. It was. Lucas looked at the charm. That paw print had once been a joke between them. A stray dog, they tried to rescue the scar that followed. They wore matching charms for a while back when the future felt wide open. I still have mine, Lucas whispered. Claire didn't answer. I want to know him, Lucas said, suddenly turning to Tyler. If you'll let me. Tyler clutched the puppy and blinked. You're nice. You have the same scar as me. Lucas chuckled, but it cracked. Yeah. I got it when I was your age. Tyler grinned. Me too, chasing Bruno through a fence. Mommy was mad. Claire let out a quiet laugh despite herself. Listen, Lucas said gently. I know I hurt you. I know this is sudden, but if there's any way to… She stood brushing off her jeans. We're not doing this in a park, Lucas. I need time. He stood too. Of course. She paused, then pulled a small notepad from her bag. Scribbled something. My number. Don't show up unannounced again. I need to protect him. Lucas took the paper like it might shatter in his hand. Tyler waved. Bye, mister. Lucas crouched to meet his eyes. It's Lucas, he said, voice low, and I hope we talk again real soon. The boy nodded, hugging Bruno tight. As they disappeared into the wind, Lucas stood alone by the bench clutching the paper and watching them cross the street. His mind reeled with memories, rooftop sunsets, laughter echoing down dorm hallways, her tearful voice saying, I'll figure it out alone. And now, a boy with his eyes, his scar, his silence. Lucas pulled out his phone. Jasmine, he said to his assistant, call my PI. Tell him to find everything Grant intercepted. All of it. He stared down at the silver bracelet in his palm, the charm worn but intact. One message lost had changed everything. One scar had brought it all back. This time, he wouldn't walk away. Lucas sat in the dim light of his penthouse office, the skyline glowing outside like a silent judgment. The charm bracelet lay on the desk next to the folded slip of paper with Claire's number. His phone buzzed. Jasmine's voice came through the speaker. "We pulled internal HR records. Claire used her middle name, Marie. She worked on the AI advisory team until last month's restructuring." Lucas exhaled, and termination was flagged for performance, but the review wasn't signed by her direct manager. He rubbed his temples. "Who signed it?" Jasmine hesitated. "Grant Quinn." Lucas's jaw tightened. Of course it was. He ended the call without another word. Across town, Claire stood at the sink of her small apartment. Water ran over her hands as Tyler sat at the kitchen table drawing with worn-down crayons. Bruno lay curled at his feet, snoring softly. "Mom," Tyler said, holding up his drawing, "look what I made." Claire dried her hands and turned. It was a stick figure sketch. A tall man in a suit holding hands with a small boy. A puppy between them. Tyler had drawn their faces in bright colors, one with blonde hair, the other with blue eyes. "That's us," he said, beaming. "And Mr. Lucas. I think he's nice." Claire knelt beside him. "You think so?" "Yeah." He looked sad, but not scary. She kissed the top of his head, forcing a smile. "Finish your drawing, sweetheart. It's almost bedtime." Back in his penthouse, Lucas stared at the same skyline that used to make him feel invincible. Now, it just felt hollow. He dialed the number. Claire answered on the third ring. Her voice was cautious. "Hello, Claire. It's me. I need to see you. Please." Silence stretched on the line. Lucas added, "There's something I found. About my uncle. About your termination. I had no idea." "You really didn't know?" she asked quietly. "No, and I can prove it." A pause. Then she said, "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Meet us at the Lincoln Park playground. I'll be there." Click. The next morning, a low gray sky hung over the city. Claire sat on a bench near the swings. Tyler ran with Bruno, laughing as the puppy chased after a leaf in the wind. Lucas arrived in a dark coat, no entourage, no briefcase. Just him. Claire stood. "You came." He nodded, glancing at Tyler. "I brought something." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. Inside, copies of HR memos, emails, Grant had signed notes recommending silent terminations of certain staff, including Claire. One memo even flagged her with the words, "personal liability." Claire scanned them, her hands shaking. "He wanted me gone." Lucas looked at her. "Because of Tyler. Because of you." She lowered the papers. "So you didn't know?" "No. But now that I do, I'm fixing it. Today." Tyler ran up, breathless. "Mr. Lucas." Bruno caught the leaf. Lucas laughed. "Did he? That's a smart pup." Tyler grinned. "Can you come to the park again?" Lucas looked at Claire. She hesitated. "Please, Mom." She sighed, then nodded. "Maybe." Lucas knelt beside Tyler. "How about we go get some dog treats together sometime? You can show me how to train Bruno." Tyler's eyes lit up. "Really? Really?" Claire watched them, her guard softening slightly, but then her phone buzzed. She glanced down. "Press alert," she muttered. "Your company's stock dipped. Something about layoffs and ethics." Lucas stood slowly. "I figured that might happen. I've scheduled a press conference. I'm not hiding from this." "You're risking everything," she said, surprised. Lucas looked at Tyler, then at her. "He's worth it." Tyler reached into his pocket and pulled out the crayon drawing. "Here," he said, handing it to Lucas. "You can have this one." Lucas took it carefully. The three of them, holding hands. He swallowed hard. "Thanks, buddy." Claire's eyes lingered on the drawing. "He's never given anyone a picture before." Lucas folded it gently. "It means everything." A soft gust of wind stirred fallen leaves around their feet. Something had shifted. Not just between Lucas and Claire, but in the air itself. The past was breaking open, and for the first time the future was quietly stepping in. Under gray skies and bare trees, Lucas stood outside the small brick apartment where Claire and Tyler lived. He held the crayon drawing in one hand tucked carefully into a slim folder, along with legal documents he hadn't shown her yet. Not yet. He hesitated before knocking. The hallway smelled faintly of laundry and old paint. Claire opened the door surprised. "Lucas," he held up a bag. "Bruno's starter kit. Treats a proper leash chew toys. I figured he deserved an upgrade." Tyler came running from the back room, socks sliding on the linoleum. "Bruno got presents." Lucas grinned. "Only the best for my grandpuppy." Claire smirked despite herself. "Come in. Just don't touch anything expensive." The apartment was tight but warm. A couch with a blanket draped over it, coloring books scattered across a coffee table, and a tiny bowl of kibble near the radiator. Lucas took it all in. The quiet life she'd built. Without him. Tyler opened the bag like it was Christmas morning. "Mom. Look, it's a puppy toothbrush." Claire arched a brow at Lucas. "You trying to impress me, or the dog?" "Both," he said without flinching. Claire paused, then walked into the kitchen. "Want coffee?" "Always." He followed her in. The space was narrow with mismatched mugs drying on a rack and a single photo stuck to the fridge. Claire holding baby Tyler in a hospital gown, both red-faced and smiling. Lucas stared at it. Was he early? 3 weeks? "I barely made it to the clinic. No one was there except a nursing intern and a storm outside." Lucas looked down. "I should have been there." Claire poured the coffee but didn't answer. He pulled a letter from his pocket and placed it gently on the table. "Found this in the attic at my uncle's lake house." She froze. "It's your handwriting." Claire picked it up with trembling fingers. The paper was weathered, the ink slightly smeared. "Dear Lucas, I don't care about the company. I don't want your money. I just want you to know I'm keeping the baby. Please don't shut me out." Her eyes burned. "I mailed this. I remember sealing it." Lucas nodded. "I believe you." They sat in silence, coffee cooling between them. Tyler wandered in, dragging Bruno behind him with a new toy leash. "Can we go to the park today?" Claire glanced at Lucas. "I'd love that," he said. Tyler clapped. "Can Mr. Lucas be in our team?" Claire softened. "Only if he promises not to cheat." Lucas grinned. "No promises." They spent the afternoon at a nearby empty lot where kids had built makeshift goalposts with sticks and cardboard. Tyler ran ahead, Bruno bounding after him. Claire stood beside Lucas, arms folded. "You were always ambitious," she said quietly, "but you never lied. That's why I sent the letter. I thought you'd at least respond." Lucas swallowed. "I've built an empire based on clarity and algorithms. But I miss the most human thing of all, us." Claire looked at him, unsure how to answer. Then Tyler shouted, "Look what I made." He held up a new drawing, this one sketched in bright colors. A tall building labeled Daddy's office, and beside it a small house with hearts around it. Both connected by a rainbow. Claire blinked. He drew a rainbow between our homes." Lucas crouched beside Tyler. "That's beautiful, buddy. Mom says rainbows mean something good after storms." Lucas looked at Claire. "She's right." As they packed up to leave, Claire hesitated, then handed Lucas a keychain. A tiny silver puppy charm, slightly scratched but intact. "I kept the other one," she said. "All these years. I thought about throwing it away." Lucas took it gently. "I'm glad you didn't." Their hands touched for a moment too long. Behind them, Tyler ran ahead, swinging the leash. The past hadn't just knocked on the door, it had entered, quietly drawn a rainbow, and asked to stay. Lucas stood in the boardroom, the city skyline behind him. But his thoughts were somewhere else, back at the park, at the drawing with the rainbow at Claire's fingers brushing his. "Mr. Quinn," his CFO said cautiously, "we need to move forward with the Q4 expansion. Asia's expecting a decision by Friday. Lucas didn't answer right away. He glanced down at the charm on his keyring, the silver puppy paw Claire had given him. He finally said, "Put it on hold. I have a different priority right now." There was silence in the room, then murmurs. His assistant approached after the meeting. "Sir, the PR team flagged a leak. A photo of you and a child might be Tyler at the park. Blogs are already speculating." Lucas closed his eyes. Let them speculate. Should we prepare a statement? He nodded slowly. Yes, but not to deny anything. Later that night he sat at his kitchen island alone except for the soft hum of the city. In front of him lay a sheet of paper. His handwriting was neat, but unsure. "Claire, I don't know how to make up for everything I missed, but I'm ready now, if you'll let me. Lucas." He folded it and placed it in an envelope. The puppy charm dangled from his keychain as he closed the drawer. Across town, Claire was tucking Tyler into bed. "Did Mr. Lucas go home?" the boy asked. Claire nodded. "He lives in a tall building with lots of windows. Does he live alone?" Claire paused. "I think so." Tyler pulled the blanket up to his chin. He looked lonely. She leaned down, brushing his hair back. He might be, but maybe not forever. The next morning, Lucas stood in front of a modest brick house on a quiet street. Claire opened the door in jeans and a sweater, holding a cup of coffee. "You're early." He smiled. "Couldn't sleep." She stepped aside. "Come in." Tyler sat at the table, crayons out again. "Hey, look what I drew." Lucas crossed the room. This time, the drawing was of a family, 3 figures side by side, a dog in front. The child in the picture held 2 hands. Lucas stared at it. His chest tightened. "That me in the middle?" Tyler grinned. "Yep. I didn't have your hair color, so I used blue." Claire chuckled softly. "Creative license." Lucas knelt beside him. "I love it, buddy. I'll frame this one." Claire's phone buzzed on the counter. She checked it, then froze. Lucas noticed. "What is it?" She handed it to him. On the screen was a headline, "Tech CEO's Secret Son Rumors. Swirl After Park Photo Goes Viral." Lucas scanned it. A grainy photo of him holding Tyler's hand. "I didn't leak this," Claire said quickly. "I know," Lucas said calmly. "I figured it would happen eventually. People talk. But I won't let them turn this into a scandal." She looked worried. "You think it'll hurt your company?" Lucas sat down. "Maybe. But I'm not hiding my son. Or you." Her eyes flickered. "Lucas, I want to do this right. Not just for PR. For real." She sighed. "I've had to protect Tyler from everything. Noise, assumptions, disappointment." "I get that," Lucas said. "But I want to be more than a drawing in his notebook." He reached into his coat and pulled out a manila envelope. "What's that?" He opened it slowly. Inside was a document, his personal commitment. He'd already rewritten his will, listed Tyler as his son, and allocated funds to a trust. "I don't want to buy forgiveness," he said. "I just want to show I'm here to stay." Claire stared at the paper, silent. Tyler looked up. "Are you going to live with us?" Lucas glanced at Claire. "That's up to your mom." Claire's voice was quiet. "One step at a time." Lucas smiled. "Then, let's take the first one together." Tyler held out his hand. "Deal." Lucas shook it. His grip steady, his heart full. The boy's hand was small, but it held the weight of a future Lucas never thought he'd have. Lucas pulled his scarf tighter as he waited outside Tyler's school. The wind whipped around the corner, but he barely noticed. In his hand was the drawing Tyler had given him, now framed in silver, tucked inside a gift bag. The bell rang, and children poured from the building like a tide of laughter and motion. Then there he was, Tyler backpack bouncing Bruno's leash in one hand. "Lucas," he shouted, running up. Lucas knelt. "Hey, buddy. How was your day?" "Good. We made volcanoes out of clay." "Mine exploded." Lucas laughed. "Of course it did." Claire followed a few steps behind, smiling as she approached. "Thanks for picking him up. Wouldn't miss it. As they walked, Tyler skipped ahead with Bruno, giving Lucas and Claire a moment. "Principal says he's been happier lately," she said. "More focused. More confident." Lucas looked at her. "That's him, Claire. I just get to witness it." They reached the corner cafe and took a seat outside under a heater. Lucas handed Tyler the gift bag. "What's this? Open it." Tyler ripped the paper. Inside was his framed drawing, the family with the rainbow and the little dog in front. His eyes lit up. "You kept it," Lucas smiled. "It's on my desk now, right next to my laptop." Tyler beamed. "You have a drawing on your work desk. Best thing in the office." Claire's eyes softened. He never had a dad to show his art to before. Lucas looked down, heart heavy. "I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to earn that spot." Just then, a woman stepped up to their table. Well-dressed, mid-40s, sharp eyes. "Claire Marie?" she asked. Claire stood. "Yes?" The woman handed over an envelope. "You've been served." Claire stared at it, frozen. Lucas stood. "What is this?" The woman turned without answering, disappearing into the crowd. Claire opened the envelope with shaking hands. Her eyes scanned the page color draining from her face. "What is it?" Lucas asked. "It's a petition from the landlord. He's evicting us." Tyler looked up. "We're moving." Claire swallowed hard. "I don't know yet, honey." Lucas took the document. "Your rent's never been late. He wants to sell the building. Triple the rent or leave in 30 days. Lucas cursed under his breath. Tyler clutched Bruno, confused. "Are we going to be okay?" Claire knelt down. "Yes, baby, I promise." Lucas took out his phone. "Give me the landlord's name, Lucas." "I'm not letting you and Tyler be thrown out because some developer wants to flip a block." "I can handle this," she said. "I know," he replied, "but you don't have to alone." That night, Lucas stood in the middle of his sleek office tower surrounded by silence. He stared at the framed drawing on his desk, heart pounding. He made a call. "Jasmine, I want to buy 1221 Larrabee Street. All of it. No middlemen." The next morning, Claire opened her door to find Lucas standing there with papers. "You own our building now?" she asked, stunned. He nodded. "And your rent isn't changing?" "Not a penny." Claire's eyes filled. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did," he said softly. "I couldn't sleep thinking about Tyler packing boxes again." She reached for the frame still in his hand. "You brought this back," Lucas smiled. "It belongs here, for now." Tyler ran in. "What's going on?" Claire knelt beside him. "We're staying, sweetie. We're not moving anymore." He squealed, hugging Bruno tightly. "Best day ever." Lucas looked at Claire. "I'm not trying to be the hero." "You're just showing up," she whispered. "That's enough." He gently hung the drawing on their wall, the rainbow between two homes now under one roof. Sometimes the most powerful rescue doesn't come with sirens. It comes with steady hands, a quiet promise, and the kind of love that doesn't leave. The smell of cinnamon rolls filled Claire's kitchen as morning light poured through the window. Tyler sat at the table, messy-haired and barefoot, biting into a warm roll with sticky fingers. Lucas stood at the counter, sleeves rolled up, pouring orange juice into mismatched glasses. "You bake now?" Claire asked, arms crossed, amused. Lucas grinned. "Jasmine found me a recipe. I watched 3 videos. Burned the first batch." Tyler licked his fingers. "These are way better than school breakfast." Lucas handed Claire a glass. "I wanted today to feel normal." She took it slowly. "We don't really do normal." Lucas sat beside Tyler. "Then we'll make our own version." The doorbell rang. Claire tensed. "Expecting anyone?" Lucas shook his head. Claire wiped her hands and opened the door. 2 men in suits stood there. One held a sleek briefcase. "Ms. Claire Marie. You've been summoned to appear before family court next week. Petition for shared custody has been filed by Lucas Quinn." Claire froze. Lucas stood from the table, face pale. "What?" The man handed her the papers. "It's official. See you in court." The door shut behind them with a cold click. Claire turned slowly, her hands trembling. "You filed this?" she asked, her voice tight. "No," Lucas said firmly. "Claire, I swear to you I didn't." "Then, how did your name end up on a legal petition? I don't know. I'll call my lawyer now." She took a step back. "You said no more surprises." Lucas pulled out his phone, fingers shaking. "Give me 5 minutes. I'll fix this." Tyler looked between them, chewing, slowing. "Are you guys mad?" Claire kneeled beside him. "No, honey. We're just figuring something out." Lucas was already on the phone. "Elliot. Family. Court filing. Under my name. I didn't approve anything." He paused. "What do you mean?" "Grant submitted it." Claire's head snapped up. "Your uncle?" Lucas nodded grimly. "He's trying to take control again. He used my power of attorney from the early days before I revoked it. Why would he want custody of Tyler?" Claire whispered. "He doesn't. He wants leverage," Lucas growled. "He's terrified I'm softening. That I'll hand over company shares to a son he didn't plan for." Claire's face went cold. "So this is business." "No. This is personal for him, but not for me." Lucas dropped the phone. "I'm withdrawing it. First thing Monday." Claire folded her arms. "He nearly wrecked us again. I can't live waiting for the next hit." Lucas stepped closer. "Then let me build you a shield. Not just fix this, prevent it." She studied him, eyes clouded with fear and hope. He added softer, "I meant what I said. I don't want to fight you. I want to raise him. With you." That night, Lucas returned to his penthouse for the first time in days. He wandered through the spotless, silent space that suddenly felt like a museum of isolation. He stopped at his desk, stared at Tyler's rainbow drawing hanging beside his awards. He picked it up. At the bottom corner in crayon was something new. Tyler had signed it to Dad. From Tyler. Lucas sat down, emotion hitting like a wave. He whispered, "I won't let him down." The next morning, Claire opened her door to find a large envelope on the mat. Inside was a notarized affidavit revoking any prior power of attorney from Grant Quinn. Beside it, a handwritten letter. "Claire, I've dismantled every legal route he had left. I should have done it years ago. I was protecting a fortune, not a family. Now I choose family. Lucas." Tucked inside was a photo, not of Tyler or Claire, but of Lucas, age 9, with a bandage on his wrist holding a puppy just like Bruno. Claire stared at it for a long time. Outside, Tyler's laughter echoed through the hallway as he ran down the stairs with Bruno. And, for the first time in years, Claire let herself believe the past might finally stay in the past. Snow dusted the sidewalks outside the clinic as Claire sat beside Tyler, holding his tiny hand in hers. His other hand clutched Bruno's leash, the puppy curled under the chair, shivering slightly. A nurse peeked in. "Doctor, Lewis will see you soon." Claire nodded, trying to stay calm. Tyler leaned into her shoulder. "Mom, do I have to get poked again?" She stroked his hair. "Just one more test, sweetheart. Then we'll get hot chocolate." The door opened. Lucas stepped in, breathless. "Sorry I'm late. Got held up at the office." Tyler smiled. "You came." Lucas sat across from them. "I promised I would." Claire handed him a clipboard. "They need your signature for the second part, the genetic marker test." He took the pen slowly. "Are you sure?" Claire nodded. "It's not just about paternity. Tyler's had those dizzy spells since last year. The doctor wants to rule out anything hereditary." Lucas hesitated, then signed. A few minutes later, Tyler followed the nurse through the hallway. Claire and Lucas sat in silence, watching through the small window in the door. "He's brave," Lucas said quietly. "He gets that from his mother," Claire replied. Lucas looked down. "I hate that it took a scare to get me here. I should have found you years ago." Claire glanced at him. "But you're here now, and he knows it." Inside the room, Tyler gave a thumbs up as the nurse drew a small blood sample. Later, bundled in coats and scarves, the three walked through the quiet streets heading toward a cafe. Lucas broke the silence. "You know, I used to walk these blocks as a kid. Same snow, same corners." Claire looked over. Before the tech. Before all this, he nodded. Before the boardrooms and the buildings. Just a kid with a scar on his wrist and a head full of plans. Tyler tugged at his hand. Did you have a dog? Lucas smiled. Yeah. Her name was Molly. She followed me home one day, wouldn't leave. I drew her paw in a notebook over and over. Claire looked surprised. That charm bracelet, the paw print? It was her, Lucas nodded. You remembered. Tyler beamed. I have it too. He pulled up his sleeve, revealing the faded silver charm dangling from his wrist. Claire added, he wears it every day, even to bed. They arrived at the cafe, slipping into a booth near the window. Snowflakes gathered on the glass like whispers from the past. As the waitress poured cocoa into chipped mugs, Claire's phone buzzed. A message from Dr. Lewis. She read it quickly, heart racing. Well, Lucas asked. Claire exhaled. The test confirms it. You're his father. Lucas closed his eyes. Thank you for not shutting me out. She slid the phone across. But there's something else. Lucas read it. A small, rare clotting factor genetic. Nothing life-threatening, but it explained Tyler's dizziness. Something Lucas also carried but never treated because he never knew. I had the same thing when I was 6, he whispered. Collapsed during recess. My mother panicked. Claire placed her hand on his. Now we can manage it. Together. Tyler dipped a marshmallow into his cocoa. Are we still a team? Lucas smiled through tears. We always were. Outside the window, holiday lights twinkled against the snowfall. Lucas reached into his coat and pulled out a small gift box. He handed it to Tyler. What's this? The boy asked. Open it. Inside was a new charm, this one engraved with 3 initials TC and L. It's our family now, Lucas said. You, me, and your mom. No matter what happens. Tyler grinned. Can we add Bruno, too? Claire laughed. We'll need a bigger bracelet. As they sipped cocoa, the weight of the past began to melt, replaced by something warmer, something permanent, not just biology, not just truth, but a promise. And this time it came wrapped in silver and cocoa and snow. A week after the DNA results, Claire stood in the hallway of Tyler's school holding a paper marked in red field trip canceled, budget cuts. The handwriting was rushed, stapled to a letter from the school board. She folded it and sighed. Lucas arrived moments later, coat unbuttoned, hair wind-blown. Sorry, traffic. Is everything okay? Claire handed him the paper. He scanned it. This was the zoo trip, right? Claire nodded. Tyler's been talking about it for a month. Lucas's jaw tightened. No, Claire cut in gently. We're not buying the school a new bus. He smiled, but there was frustration in his eyes. It's just hard not fixing things with money. Tyler burst through the classroom door, then face lit up. Dad. Look what I made. Lucas knelt. Whoa, that's a robot lion. Yup, it can protect families. Lucas chuckled. You just invented the future. They walked home together, snow crunching beneath their boots. Tyler skipped ahead with Bruno, who darted into piles of leaves. Claire watched Lucas out of the corner of her eye. You meant it, didn't you, about wanting to be part of his life? Lucas nodded slowly. Every day that passes, I regret the ones I missed. She stopped walking. Then, there's something I need you to see. That afternoon, they sat on her couch as Claire pulled out a folder. Inside were old letters, some opened, some returned unopened. She handed one to Lucas. Lucas, I don't want your money. Just a call. Just an answer, Claire. His fingers trembled as he read. I wrote you 3 times, she whispered. I left voicemails. I tried. And then I stopped. Lucas looked up. He intercepted everything, didn't he? Your uncle. He made it clear I wasn't suitable. He threatened me. Lucas gritted his teeth. I was blind. I let him filter my life. Claire's voice broke. I raised him alone thinking you'd abandoned us. I didn't know, Claire, but I should have. I should have fought harder. Tyler ran in holding up a crumpled drawing. Look, I drew us flying on a dragon. Lucas smiled through misty eyes. That's exactly how it feels sometimes. Claire met his gaze. I'm not asking for revenge, I just needed you to understand. Lucas took a deep breath. I'm calling a board meeting tomorrow. Her brows lifted. Why I'm removing Grant? Permanently. Claire blinked. Can you do that? I'm the majority shareholder now, and I'm done letting him shape my story. Later that night, Lucas sat alone in his penthouse poring over legal documents. The city lights flickered outside, but his focus was sharp. He paused only once to take out the tiny charm with the engraved initials. He placed it on the desk next to a framed photo of Tyler mid-laugh holding Bruno. The next morning, Lucas stood before a sleek glass table at headquarters. Every board member sat upright as Grant Quinn entered, confident and smug. Lucas didn't waste time. I've learned, he said calmly, that power is meaningless if it costs you your soul. A few murmurs. Grant leaned back. Lucas continued. 10 years ago, you intercepted a letter. You made decisions in my name. Today, that ends. He pulled out the signed document revoking Grant's access and removing him from the board effective immediately. You're done, Lucas said. Grant's face paled. You're making a mistake. Lucas met his gaze. I made one. For a decade. I'm correcting it now. Security stepped forward. Grant stood stunned, then stormed out. As silence settled, one board member cleared her throat. Who's the boy in your photo? Lucas turned the frame toward them. My son. Tyler. He's why I'm doing all of this. That evening, Lucas returned to Claire's apartment. Tyler opened the door. Did you fight the bad guy today? Lucas smiled. I did? Did you win? Lucas crouched and ruffled his hair. We did. Claire walked in from the kitchen drying her hands. You're earlier than I thought. I wanted to tell you in person, he said. Grant's gone, for good. Claire exhaled relief and disbelief in her eyes, and I added Tyler's name to my estate, officially. She covered her mouth. Lucas. He handed her a new document. I don't want to just be present. I want to protect both of you, from now on. She looked down at the paper, then up at him. And for the first time in a long time, she believed him. The wind off Lake Michigan howled as Lucas carried 2 trays of cocoa to the picnic table where Claire and Tyler waited. Snowflakes drifted around the small park, empty except for them and a few bundled-up joggers in the distance. Lucas set the drinks down, then carefully pulled something from his coat pocket, a soft, worn, stuffed puppy with one eye missing. Tyler's eyes lit up. Hey. That's Bruno's twin. Lucas smiled. This was mine. Molly, remember I found her in a box when I cleaned out my old room. Tyler reached out reverently, hugging the toy. She smells like old cookies. Claire chuckled. That would be Lucas's childhood. Lucas looked at them both. I want to tell you something. Both of you. Claire's smile faded just slightly. Okay. Lucas took a breath. You know that media storm last week? The stock dip? Claire nodded. Of course. You were everywhere. It wasn't just about Grant. Some of the board thinks I'm distracted. That Tyler and you are distractions. Claire's voice grew sharper. They said that they didn't have to. Their silence in the meeting said enough. Tyler looked confused. Am I in trouble? Lucas quickly shook his head. No, buddy. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Claire rested a hand on Tyler's shoulder. What are you thinking, Lucas? I want to change how this company works, he said. Not just restructure, redefine it. Make it family first. Real flexibility. Real care. Claire blinked. You'd risk that much? Lucas nodded. I used to believe in growth at all costs, but now I see it costs too much. I'm done chasing quarterly highs while families break underneath. Tyler sipped his cocoa, then looked up. So, you're not quitting? Lucas smiled. Not quitting, evolving. Later that evening, Claire stood in the kitchen stirring pasta as Lucas sat at the small table with Tyler helping him build a Lego castle. Bruno snored beneath the table paws, twitching. Tyler held up a tiny knight. "He's the protector of the family. His name's Sir Pawsworth." Lucas chuckled. "Good name." Claire called over, "Lucas, did you ever want kids back when you were younger?" He looked up thoughtful. "I didn't know I could be a dad. I thought I'd ruin it." Claire stirred quietly. "Now I'm terrified, but I want it, with everything in me." Just then, Tyler placed something on the table, a tiny Lego figure with a briefcase in one hand and a dog by his side. "This is you," Tyler said proudly. "You're the CEO knight." Lucas stared at the toy, his throat tight. "I love it." Claire watched them, her expression softening. The next morning, Lucas met with his legal team in a sleek corner office. They reviewed the updated structure of his trust employee care programs and a new foundation proposal. "I want a fund," Lucas said, "for single parents in tech. Too many fall through the cracks." His lawyer raised an eyebrow. "You'll take a major compensation cut." Lucas smiled. "I'll survive." That afternoon, he stood in front of a classroom of fourth graders, Tyler's class. A teacher waved him up. "Everyone, this is Mr. Quinn. He's here to talk about building things." Lucas held up a small circuit board and grinned. "Today, we're going to make light-up badges. And yes, we'll talk robots." Tyler beamed from the front row. At the end of class, each child had a blinking badge. Tyler's spelled Dad in red lights. Lucas knelt beside him. "That yours?" Tyler nodded shyly. "I made it for you." Lucas hugged him tightly. "That means everything." As they walked home, Tyler held his hand the whole way. Claire opened the door as they arrived, apron still dusted with flour. "How was school?" Tyler answered first. "Dad made lights, and he didn't even mess it up." Lucas held up the Dad badge, still blinking. Claire laughed. "We'll hang it right next to the drawing." And for once, Lucas didn't feel like he was living two lives. Just one finally whole with his name spelled in red lights and love tucked in every corner. Saturday morning brought sunshine and the scent of waffles drifting from Claire's kitchen. Tyler stood on a stool flipping batter with intense focus while Lucas poured juice and set the table. Claire leaned against the doorway smiling. "You two are becoming quite the breakfast team." Tyler grinned. "I'm the chef. Dad's the helper." Lucas laughed. "I've been promoted from dish duty. I'll take it." After breakfast, they headed to the park for the first real family outing since everything changed. The air was crisp. Kids shouted from the jungle gym and Bruno dashed in circles through piles of leaves. Tyler ran ahead waving a kite in one hand. "Come on, Dad. Help me fly it." Lucas took off running after him. Claire followed behind, watching the two race across the grass, the colorful kite catching air and rising fast. Breathless, Lucas dropped beside her on the bench. "We should do this every weekend." Claire nodded. "He's been happier. I see it in how he sleeps, how he laughs." Lucas hesitated. "I've been thinking about something more permanent." She looked at him cautious. "I'd like to host his first real birthday party," he said. "At my place, with his friends. Balloons, cake, the whole deal." Claire blinked. "His birthday's in 2 weeks. I know," Lucas said, "and I want him to know he's worth celebrating. I missed so many milestones. Let me give him one he'll never forget." She looked out across the field. Tyler's laughter echoed as the kite dipped and soared. "All right," she said finally, "but nothing over the top." Lucas smiled. "Simple, joyful. No gold-plated bounce houses, I promise." Back at his penthouse, Lucas paced with a party planner. No logos, no press. Just cupcakes, kid music, and enough balloons to fill a room. The planner raised a brow. "Are you sure you don't want a media team?" Lucas shook his head. "This isn't PR. This is for my son." Meanwhile, Claire took Tyler shopping for a new shirt for the party. At a small shop downtown, Tyler held up a blue button-down with tiny silver stars. "This one looks like the sky when we flew the kite." Claire smiled and nodded. "It's perfect." Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She stepped aside to answer. "Hello?" A voice spoke coldly. "You think letting him back into your life makes him a father?" Claire froze. "Who is this? I know who Lucas Quinn really is, and I know what you're risking." The call ended before she could respond. That night, she sat on the couch holding the phone, heart racing. Lucas walked in setting down a bag of party supplies. "You okay?" he asked. She handed him the phone. "I got this today. Someone doesn't want you getting close." Lucas read the call log, frowning. "Grant. It has to be." Claire bit her lip. "He threatened me. Said I'm risking everything." Lucas sank into the chair. "He's desperate, probably trying to scare us into backing off." She looked at him. "And if he's right, if the board thinks I'm a liability," Lucas leaned forward, "then they'll learn what loyalty looks like. I'd choose you and Tyler over them any day." Tears welled in her eyes. "But what if the price is too high?" He reached out, pulling the stuffed puppy from earlier off the shelf and setting it between them. "This is the first thing I ever loved. I was 9, scared and alone. Molly got me through." Claire's voice softened. "You kept it all these years." Lucas nodded. "Because it reminded me who I was. And now, Tyler reminds me who I want to be." She finally smiled. "Then let's throw him the party of the year." 2 weeks later, Lucas's penthouse sparkled with ribbons and balloons. Kids raced through hallways. Bruno wore a party hat and a giant poster read, "Happy 7th birthday." Tyler ran into Lucas's arms, giggling. "This is the best day ever," Lucas whispered. "You deserve every second." And in that moment, with cake on the table and laughter in the air, the past finally loosened its grip and the future opened wide, wrapped in joy, frosting, and second chances. A week after Tyler's party, the headlines hit. CEO Lucas Quinn. Exploiting son for sympathy, birthday bash, or PR move. Claire stood frozen in her apartment doorway, phone shaking in her hand. Tyler played on the floor nearby, building a block tower with Bruno curled beside him. Lucas arrived minutes later, breathless. "I just saw it. They're twisting everything." Claire held out the phone. "You said no press. I didn't invite them," he said. "Grant must have leaked it. Someone's trying to make me look like I staged the whole thing." She looked him dead in the eyes. "And you're bored. What are they saying?" Lucas sat down heavily. "They called an emergency meeting. Some want me to step down until things settle." Claire sank into the armchair, disbelief in her voice. "You're actually considering it?" Lucas looked at her. "They think I'm emotionally compromised, that I've gone soft." Tyler looked up. "Dad." "What's wrong?" Lucas forced a smile. "Just adult stuff, buddy. Nothing you need to worry about." Tyler crawled into his lap, placing the blinking dad badge on his chest. "You're not soft. You're strong. You're my knight." Lucas held him tightly, emotion caught in his throat. Later that night, the apartment was quiet. Claire stood by the window, arms crossed, staring at the skyline. Lucas joined her. "I'm sorry this hit your life." She didn't turn. "You brought joy to a little boy who never had a dad, and now people think it's a strategy." He sighed. "If I fight this, I might lose the company." She faced him. "And if you don't, I lose what matters most." The next day, Lucas walked into the boardroom. The atmosphere was colder than usual. Murmurs silenced as he stood. "I built this company," he said firmly. "But somewhere along the way, I forgot why." He looked around the table. "I forgot that behind every employee is a child, a parent, someone they go home to." He slid a folder across the table, an outline of his proposed foundation for single-parent employees. 25% of our staff are single parents. Some work 2 jobs. Some have kids with medical needs. I'm not stepping away. I'm stepping up. One board member scoffed. "And what about perception?" "We're bleeding stock points." Lucas nodded. "Then let it bleed. Because I'd rather lose market share than my son's trust." He left the room without waiting for a vote. Hours later, he stood on Claire's porch. "You quit?" she asked. "No," he said. "I stood my ground. If they fire me, they'll do it knowing I chose people over profit." She opened the door wider. "Then come inside. You're family now." That evening, Tyler presented something carefully folded in construction paper. Lucas opened it. Inside was a drawing, 3 stick figures, a dog, and a building with a sign, Tyler's Tech, where dads work too. Lucas laughed softly. I love it. Claire smiled. He made it at school. His teacher said he told the whole class his dad builds places that don't forget about moms and kids. Lucas reached for a pen. On the back of the paper he wrote, Inspiration starts with one brave heart. The next morning, Lucas published a personal letter on the company's site to our staff and families. If my priorities seem different lately, it's because they are. I've learned the hard way that success without love is hollow. This company will move forward together, with flexibility, with empathy, with heart, and if that costs us some headlines, so be it. Within hours, the site crashed from too much traffic. Claire watched the coverage on the couch beside him, her hand resting on his. Tyler climbed into his lap. Did they like your letter? Lucas nodded. I think they did. And if they don't, Lucas kissed his head. Then we'll build something better. Outside, snow began to fall again, quiet and soft. But inside, everything was clearer, stronger, real. Because this time the foundation wasn't built from code. It was built from love. 2 days after the letter went viral, Lucas stood before a camera crew, not at a press podium, but in a daycare room inside his company's newest floor, a family resource center. Bright murals covered the walls. Kids played behind him as he addressed the staff through a live stream. No title, he said simply. No spotlight. Just one promise. We support families because we are one. After the stream ended, Claire watched from her office downtown. She wiped her eyes, then called Tyler's school to let them know she'd be picking him up early for a surprise. Meanwhile, Lucas walked back to his office only to be met by Ellie, his longtime assistant. You've got visitors, she said, smiling. Claire and Tyler stepped through the doorway. Dad, Tyler, raced forward holding up a tablet. I made a game. You tap Bruno, and he does flips. Lucas crouched. A flipping Bruno, let me see that. Claire handed him a brown envelope. It came in the mail. No return address. Lucas opened it. Inside was an old photo, Claire pregnant sitting on a hospital bed with a nurse beside her. And taped beside it, a letter. You were never meant to see this. I made sure of that. But watching from the sidelines now, I regret it. Your uncle wasn't wrong about business, but he was wrong about you. Take care of them. Don't do what I did. Your father, Lucas, stood motionless, staring at the words. Claire touched his arm. Are you okay? He nodded slowly. I think my dad knew. He just didn't know how to fix it. Tyler tilted his head. Is Grandpa a bad guy? Lucas shook his head. No buddy, just someone who got lost, like I almost did. That night, Lucas pulled out Tyler's old drawing, the one with the stick family and Bruno. He carefully slid it into a new silver frame, then set it on his nightstand. At bedtime, Claire tucked Tyler in while Lucas read a story. Bruno curled up at their feet. Mom, Tyler asked sleepily, Can we live with Dad? For real? Claire looked over at Lucas, whose heart stopped for a second. She smiled. We'll talk about it, sweetheart. Lucas walked her to the door afterward. The hallway was quiet. I didn't plan that, she said softly. He nodded. I hoped, but I didn't expect it. She turned to face him. He feels safe with you now, and so do I. Lucas reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet pouch. I found this in a drawer I hadn't opened in years. Claire opened it. Inside was the original silver charm bracelet still bearing the puppy paw print he'd given her in college. Her breath caught. You kept it. I thought I lost you. But I never let go. She looked down at the charm. You gave this to me the night we broke up. I was scared, he said, of being a father, of being like mine. Claire touched his face. You're nothing like him. He took her hand. Then let me try again. Not just visits and parties. Real life. Mornings, groceries, laundry, everything. She nodded. Okay. The next morning, Claire and Tyler moved in one suitcase, two backpacks, and Bruno's worn-out dog bed. Tyler burst into Lucas's home office later that day. "Dad, I brought my robot lion. He wants a desk too." Lucas scooted over a chair. "He's hired." Later that week, Lucas launched a new initiative, Tech Dads, a mentorship and support group inside the company aimed at helping working fathers navigate family and career without shame or fear. He gave the first talk standing in front of a dozen dads holding the framed drawing. "This isn't just a picture," he said. "This is what I almost missed. Don't let ambition erase the people who wait for you at home." The room was quiet. Then someone clapped. Another followed, until the entire room rose to their feet. That night, as the city buzzed below, Lucas sat beside Claire on the balcony, Tyler asleep inside. "You know," Claire whispered, "you used to dream of changing the world." Lucas looked toward the skyline. "Now, I just want to be part of his." And in that moment, surrounded by warmth, trust, and one tiny flashing badge that still blinked, Dad. Lucas knew he'd finally come home. The day Tyler's charm bracelet broke, they were at the city garden market buying tulips for Claire's windowsill. One moment he was twirling in circles with Bruno. The next, he froze. "Dad, my bracelet, it's gone." Lucas dropped the paper bag of apples and knelt beside him. "Where'd you last see it?" Tyler's eyes brimmed. "I don't know. I just felt my wrist get light." They searched every stall, retracing steps, even checking under crates. But the tiny silver bracelet with the engraved puppy paw was gone. Back home, Tyler sat curled in Claire's lap, quiet. Lucas brought over something wrapped in a cloth napkin. "I couldn't find your bracelet," he said, "but I want to show you this." He unwrapped it slowly, revealing a new charm almost identical to the one lost, but this time with Tyler's initials and a tiny lightning bolt beside the paw. "I had it made last month," Lucas said, "just in case something happened, because some things like love deserve a backup plan." Tyler reached for it, awe in his eyes. "It's cooler than the first one." Lucas clasped it around his wrist. "This one's not just from college. It's from now, from everything we've been through." Claire smiled. "From a dad who remembers." That night, Claire tucked a letter beneath Lucas's coffee mug, folded neatly with a note, "Open when the house is quiet." He found it just after midnight. Lucas. "You once asked me how I could trust you again. It wasn't the speeches, it wasn't the job or the foundation. It was this Tyler's face when he hears your voice. The calm in our home now, the way you look at us like we matter more than time itself. You became the man I always hoped you were. We're not a second chance. We're the real beginning." Claire, Lucas stared at the letter breath caught in his throat. Then he folded it and tucked it into his wallet behind a photo of Tyler holding up the CEO Knight Lego figure. The next morning, Claire walked into the kitchen to find Lucas scrambling eggs in pajamas, Bruno licking batter off the floor, and Tyler dancing in socks across the tile. "You boys start a circus while I was asleep," she laughed. Lucas spun around. "Breakfast before battle." "Battle?" Claire asked. He handed her a flyer, launching today the Hale Quinn Family Foundation Center for Work-Life Innovation. "Today's the ribbon cutting," Lucas said, "and you're both coming." Hours later, the three stood in front of a crowd gathered on the new campus lawn. Reporters, employees, and dozens of parents with children surrounded them. Lucas stepped up to the podium. 2 years ago, he began, "I was living high above this city, running a company but missing a life. And then, a little boy sold me a puppy on the street." Laughter rippled through the crowd. He had a scar just like mine, and he wore a bracelet, just like the one I once gave someone I never stopped loving. Lucas looked at Claire and Tyler. That day changed everything. He continued, "This center isn't about charity. It's about change. For every parent who works overtime with no daycare, for every kid who wonders when their mom or dad will come home. He held up Tyler's drawing, now laminated on a placard. "This was drawn by my son. He called it Tyler's Tech. He said it's a place where dads work too." Applause rose. Claire reached for Tyler's hand. Lucas smiled. "Starting today, we build that place. For them. For you. For us." He stepped down, joined by Tyler and Claire, and together they cut the ribbon. That evening, back at the apartment, Tyler ran into Lucas's arms with a handmade card. "I made this at the center." Lucas opened it. A stick figure family. 3 hearts. And beneath it in marker the words, "I waited a long time. But I'm glad you're my dad." Lucas pulled him close. "Me too, buddy. Me too." And as the sun dipped behind the skyline, the only thing brighter than the lights of Chicago was the future they built hand in hand.